the time, 2 years to really transform playing and the playing style into really the bass versus the guitar, and what the purpose serves. What the purpose of the bass is the foundation and rhythm, and really to be less notey, where needed, and really hold the foundation down.
Welcome to episode 107 of the Bass Shed podcast. My name is Ryan Roberts. All right. So I'm gonna start this episode with a rant. All right, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start this episode with a rant. You guys know what I'm talking about. With these 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch adapters. You know, the one. They're like the Sharpie for musicians, right? You can never find one when you need one. Never. You can never find the 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch adapter when you need one. Then you find one, and it's got some kind of short in it. That's what I'm dealing with right now. I got this little 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch adapter right now. That's how I'm doing my monitoring, so I can hear myself while I'm talking. And it's got this short in here, and it's driving me absolutely nuts. And of course, I have probably 1,000 of these adapters laying around somewhere. But that's the thing, somewhere. I have no idea where they are. No idea. Man, the plague of the 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch adapter. Oof. That struggle is real. That struggle is all the way real. Welcome to episode 107, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Bass Shed podcast. On the episode is Colorado bassist Zach Gilliam. I will talk more about Zach in just a second. All right. What's new with me? Monday, I went out to Amoeba Records in Hollywood. Kind of took the day. I think that was Monday. It's either Monday or Sunday. Oh, man, I don't even know anymore. Let's go with Sunday. Sunday feels accurate. I went out to Amoeba Records. Always looking for interesting things on vinyl, right? So I go out to Amoeba, snooping around. But they, since Amoeba moved locations, still within Hollywood, but they moved locations. I think I've only been to the newer location a few times, and so I don't have the layout memorized. I walk in and I immediately realize they're like, oh yeah, that's right. I don't know where anything is in this one, and so I'm like, looking around at all the signs telling me what styles of music are where, and I end up in the classical section, and that's totally cool. So I started thumbing through some classical vinyl. What I did find, and I was shocked that it was in the classical section. Hold on, let me grab the vinyl right here so I can read the titles accurately. Alright, so the first one I found that I'm really into was Piano Rags by Scott Joplin. Right? Like, I've never really checked out Scott Joplin. So I decided to. And obviously, it was cheap. I still haven't listened to it yet. I'm hoping that the record's in decent condition. It didn't visually look like there was any issues with it. But Piano Rags by Scott Joplin, Volume 2. So I'm like, I can't just be a Volume 2 guy. I gotta find Volume 1 also. So I'm looking through all the Scott Joplin. Still, the whole time, shocked that Scott Joplin was in the classical section. Only found Volume 2. But, the famous Maple Leaf Rag was not on Volume 2. It was on Volume 1. So I'm like, okay, I can't do this. I can't get Scott Joplin on vinyl and not get Maple Leaf Rag. So then I bought another Scott Joplin album that is Maple Leaf Rag. What else did I get? Okay, this is interesting because this is kind of pertains to the podcast in a sense. Mark Wade, who's been on the podcast a few times, the second time when he was on, we were talking about some music that influenced his latest record, the one he's got right now, the newest one. And if I remember correctly, there was Stravinsky's The Soldier's Tale by Igor Stravinsky was inspiration to some of his writing on his latest record, and I had never checked that out. Big Stravinsky fan, but I never checked out The Soldier's Tale. So, found it on vinyl. Super stoked to get into that. What else did I get? I'm also a big Sam Cooke fan, so I got Sam Cooke. The record, the timeless record, Ain't That Good News by Sam Cooke. Like, come on, that's just timeless goodies right there. That's the one I checked out first. I listened to first. What else did I get? I ended up with a nice little stash here. I got an Oscar Pettiford album. What's this guy? That's the Scott Joplin. And I got the soundtrack to The Color Purple. That's a Quincy Jones bit. Quincy wrote and produced that. I'm interested to check that out. I saw it online not that long ago, the vinyl for The Color Purple. I'm like, I should really check that out. So, while at Amoeba, I went and found it. So, my days lately, while doing the things that I do, are checking out these really, exciting finds, and listening to them on vinyl. All right, what else is happening? I was down at Lemur Music earlier this afternoon. We were, finalizing some things about how the day of workshops is going to be going. The flow of the day is what we were talking about. It's a day of workshops at Lemur Music, presented by the Bass Shed Academy. So Chris Hornung will be teaching a 2-hour classical workshop from 10 to 12. From 1 to 3, I will be teaching a jazz workshop. And then from 3:30 to 5:30, I'll be teaching an electric bass workshop, all down at Lemur Music. Make sure to stop by lemurmusic.com for everything you need for the double bass. And stop by the bassacademy.org, the Bass Shed Academy. I know my own company, the bassshedacademy.org. For information about the workshops on April 1st, and that's going to have a live stream option also, so check that out. All right, as I mentioned, my guest on the episode is Colorado bassist Zach Gilliam. Gilliam. I always want to say that with a U. It's Zach Gilliam. Zach is the bassist for the group The Runaway Grooms. Now, I want to thank my friends over at IVPR. They reached out to me. To interview Zach and talk to him about the latest album by the Runaway Grooms. The album is titled This Road. And I love this. And I can't say that I would have stumbled upon the band, the Runaway Grooms, just by my own doing. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's so much out there. There's so much music out there. And it's difficult to weed through the platforms at times to discover new music and stuff. So I don't know if I would have found them. I'm very happy that IVPR reached out to me to chat with Zach and talk to him about the Runaway Grooms. It's a really fascinating conversation, and I really enjoy meeting bass players I would not have otherwise met or checked out their bands and their music that I maybe wouldn't have otherwise checked out. So I hope you all share in that with me, given the nature of this podcast. If you're still, if you're a regular listener, I hope you do, because that's kind of the deal here. That's one of them. So Zach and I are going to talk about his move from Tennessee, where he's from, to Colorado, and a very specific small mountain town in Colorado, Eagle, Colorado, which is a very tiny town. How moving to a mountain town kind of makes him understand, or makes Americana music make sense a little bit more. He'll talk about his time and history as a bassist, coming from Nashville, where he was pursuing songwriting as a guitar player. So we're gonna hear it's a little bit of a conversion story, where he comes from the big city to a small mountain town, and within that becomes a bass player. Wonderful time, and the latest album out by the Runaway Grooms is out on February 10th. So here's my talk with Colorado bassist Zach Gilliam. How you doing, man?
Um, yeah, just getting stuff in line for the album drop tomorrow.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. So this is your second. This is your second record with the group, right?
this is my second record. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my second record with them. Yeah,
What's the title of the record?
This Road.
How
Yeah,
long
so
you?
we're just prepping. Go ahead.
How long you been with the group?
I started playing with them back in 2019
Okay.
and kind of joined very beginning in 2020, right before the pandemic.
Nice. Well, what was the first record? How long? When was the first record you did with them?
Um, that's a really good question. It was Violet Lane. I think it came out in 2021, but
Okay.
I'm not sure the date.
Right. So you guys are all based in Colorado, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Talk about that. Where in Colorado are you guys at?
We're up in Eagle, Colorado, which is the Vail Valley, about 2 hours west of Denver.
Okay.
Up in the mountains, small town, super small.
How small? Like for perspective.
7,000 people.
Oh my gosh, that's super small.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's small. Yeah. So it's new for. I came from Nashville and moved
Okay.
out here. A whole different animal, but I didn't think I would be into the small town vibe, but you know, it I like it. The more I'm here, the more I
Yeah.
like it. It's
What
yeah,
was
it's a good pace.
what was the impetus to move from Nashville to Eagle, Colorado, and how did Eagle, Colorado even get on your radar?
I moved out up to Vail. Initially, I was doing the band thing in Nashville, and just kept going through players and hiring different people and all that stuff.
Sure.
And it just kind of gave music a break for a hot minute, and was like, I'm gonna come out to Colorado. I'm always inspired by the mountains and do a bunch of songwriting. And
Okay.
the concept of moving out here was get in the mountains, be inspired, write some songs, go back to Nashville, and just hire some cats or bring in some friends. Not really a band thing, just
Okay.
like,
So this was gonna be like a solo project. Were you
yeah.
gonna play bass on it, or were you gonna play guitar or
No,
sing?
no. In fact, I only started playing bass with the Grooms.
Oh, okay.
I call myself very new in the whole grand scheme of things. I've been playing guitar since I was sixth grade, and didn't start picking up the bass until 2019.
Okay. Um,
So,
Now that's kind of rough to like just pick up the bass and go right into double bass because that's a very unforgiving instrument.
yeah,
Regardless of anybody's level of expertise, like it's
yeah.
the instrument still remains unforgiving. What was that like? Kind of joining a new band and learning their music and gelling with these guys while battling a pretty difficult instrument to get
Yeah,
together.
man. It was I would say challenge, and it took it's really taken the better part of the time, 2 years to really transform playing and the playing style into really the bass versus the guitar, and what the purpose of the bass is the
Sure.
foundation and rhythm, and really to be less notey, where needed, and really hold the foundation down. That took me like months and months. And now I found the rhythm. Now I seldomly play guitar and always
Okay.
play bass, so
Nice.
it's just completely switched. And it's been it was definitely a challenge, to try to knock those habits of being a lead guitar player and a rhythm guitar player, and shove that to the side and really say, hey, all right, I'm in a different spot. I'm in a different function of the band, and really to adapt to that. So definitely some time, but we've got it locked in now. After this much time with the drummer, we made it like this. So
Nice. Nice. Um, how has it changed your songwriting? Like having this, spending so much time on the bass and listening from the, from the ground up. How's it?
Totally. I'd say, man, it made overall songwriting a little more challenging coming for me, more challenging to construct, a song just from the bass and the
Hmm.
bass notes of it. And so I actually find it more helpful, when I'm creating the full song to start on an acoustic guitar
Okay.
and to kind of get a vibe of the song and where I'm going. Now, if I'm co-songwriting with someone else, then it's much easier, to begin with the bass foundation.
Right, right, right.
When we're doing it together, if I'm writing a song with our keyboardist or with our guitar player or someone else, it's a bit easier for me on bass, co-writing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we had a little bit of a internet snafu there. How did you get from Nashville to Eagle, Colorado? How is Eagle, Colorado even on your map to like,
Yeah.
I've never heard of it until right now in this conversation.
Yeah, man. So I got out here. I have an adventure van. I
Okay.
built out a van and traveled the country with it many
Nice.
times over. That's how I got out here. I ended up in Eagle. I first actually moved up here to Avon, which is Vail, Colorado,
Okay.
and in Avon, there's a ski resort called Beaver Creek, and basically you have Beaver Creek and Vail are like 15 minutes apart from each other. So I first
I'm
moved up
looking at
there.
I'm looking at a map of Colorado right now while you're
Yeah,
talking. So hold on. I'm like, I see where Eagle is, and then
yep,
there's Gypsum just west.
yeah. Go the other way, and you'll
Avon.
see.
Okay, so it's like equal distance east is Avon, right on the 24
Yep,
or the
on
70.
70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and up there, basically stayed up there for a year, and it's had a. I found that Eagle is the spot for the locals.
Really?
Um, well, yeah, up valley there's ski resorts, so
Okay.
it's very
Touristy.
very touristy,
Yeah.
and I kind of felt a big like very difficult for to establish community. There's people just in and out and in and out,
Sure.
and so actually the whole band we ended up moving down to Eagle, which is there aren't any resorts here or anything. It's straight locals.
So did you meet
So
the other band members in Avon?
yeah, actually I met them at a brewery.
Okay.
They were playing a gig. I jumped in. I went to the brewery to watch another singer songwriter from Nashville. We ended up getting beers, but we're sitting there talking at the counter, and then this other band starts loading in. I didn't even know that there was another band.
Yeah.
The band starts loading in, and then the whole brewery just fills up with people. And I'm like,
Oh
all right,
wow.
what's going on here?
Yeah.
And they were playing with two guitars and a drummer, and I saw a bass on stage,
Okay.
but they weren't using it. And the whole time I was like, oh man, it's just missing the bass.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
missing
yeah, yeah.
the bass, and I want to go up there and I want to play, but it's definitely not etiquette in Nashville to just jump on stage and
It's
just like
yeah, I don't know if that's etiquette anywhere. Just to bum
yeah.
rush anybody's gig and
Well, I mean, actually, like these mountain towns, like things are different up here.
yeah.
Small towns and people. I was it kind of opened me up to a different aspect of music, especially coming from Nashville, where
Mm-hmm.
people, dude, they don't. People just want to have fun and get together and have a good time.
Where you're at now in the smaller community. Yeah.
Right. And I moved up here and I was like, whoa, this is like, you mean people aren't taking this like super serious and like a
Right.
career, they're not like going and getting it. And,
Yeah, there's no industry there. No one's trying to get seen or get
right.
heard. Or, yeah,
They're
yeah.
just trying to have a good time and
Sure.
just, party or, whatever it is and just have community. And I was like, wow, this is really different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, but it's really cool, man. It's a cool vibe. Yeah.
Where were you at before Nashville?
Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
Born and raised in Memphis.
That's a huge music city. You went to from
Yeah, man.
two really big music cities to
Yeah.
Eagle, Colorado.
Yeah, man. I jumped on, I jumped on the blues train
Mm-hmm.
to like learn.
Okay.
I started playing down on Bill Street. It probably, I don't know. I probably started down there 17, 18 or so. And for the couple of years before I moved out to Nashville, I was playing blues down there in a blues trio as a guitar player and a front man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so Music City to Music City, lot of history in both of those places, and a lot of thriving music stuff, which is couldn't be more thankful to be from there or to go back and visit. I really cherish those places as we tour back through there. Now it's like, I kind of miss having fantastic music accessible 7 days a week.
Right. Now you moved to Eagle to kind of get this break from all of it a little bit, but then you just found another version of it.
Totally. So, I just stumbled in it. I actually started approaching the local musicians to try to just, number one, I love to play music.
Of course, yeah, sure.
So get out there and just play, meet some other, I didn't know anyone up here. So it's definitely a common ground, to go out and meet people. And then number three is make a little side cash.
Yeah.
It's hella expensive up here.
Really? It seems like it would be super cheap.
Yeah.
It's just like, I always think, like, I love small mountain towns too. I think I'd get too stir crazy living there.
Yeah.
But I love visiting small mountain towns.
Totally, man.
But it seems like they'd be really inexpensive.
Yeah, you would think so.
Is it because you're near tourist spots and so they're still trying to get some tourist money?
Primarily, man, it's, this is considered some of the best skiing in the world.
Do you ski?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I snowboard now.
Okay.
I do backcountry skiing, but everybody in the band's a snowboarder, and frequently, 3 times, 4 times a week if we can.
Wow.
It's in our backyard, so it's like definitely a thing. You think the small towns, but I think it's the resources are so limited. There's only so many hotels, so many restaurants, and everybody's trying to come here to ski.
Right.
So yeah, it's expensive. A lot of second and third homeowners up here, which is kind of why I like to get out of the up valley, buy all the ski resorts, move down to more of a local.
Okay, yeah.
Local vibe.
Yeah, I was in Idaho kind of towards the end of last year, I think. And that was the vibe in Idaho, like a lot of second and third homes.
Yep.
In the mountains is kind of this little ski town.
Where'd you go?
I was playing in Sun Valley. Idaho. Yeah, which is a super cool, like, one street town.
Yep, I skied that last year. We skied it last year when we were when we played in Boise. We were like, we're gonna hit Sun Valley, and we played in Boise, and then the next day we drove over to Sun Valley and skied.
Yeah, we did. I didn't even make it to Boise. Like, we were playing in Sun Valley.
Oh, nice.
So it was just, like wherever that cultural arts center is, right on the main street. We stayed across the street from there at whatever hotel that was. Played some like gala or something. I forgot what we were playing.
Right.
But it's a cool little town. But same kind of vibe, like small, super small mountain town, second, third homeowners. Which you would think like that was not what I think of when I think of mountain towns. Like those people were like kind of old money, had made lived in other places in the country.
Totally.
But does it ever get boring in the small town? And like, you only got so many places. You only got so many new musicians to check out. There's only so much of a scene.
Yeah, so much of the music scene, but man, that the really appealing thing here is the outdoors and the recreation, man. So there's no way you can do all the hiking. There's no way you can fish all this. It's just going to take years and years and years.
Sure.
to fish all the fish. There's fly fishing, snowmobiling, or rock climbing. Cody does paragliding. There's so much backpacking, and it's just endless. And
Yeah, for the adventure seeker, it's endless. Yeah, for
right,
someone like me who doesn't,
right, totally. For the music, you can stay booked 7 days a week if you want to play locally.
uh-huh.
They're just different gigs than what I'm kind of into.
Sure.
It's more like, you could do an acoustic thing for like an upscale restaurant, or
Right, right.
like, the bars you could host an open mic, or like, do a brewery on a Thursday. You
Sure.
could stay busy if you wanted to and stay local as a musician. Um, and do pretty good, and thrive.
Yeah, yeah.
Plenty of private parties, upscale restaurants, like exclusive, like little clubs and stuff where these people pay top dollar for some good jazz, or just good music to come in.
Sure.
So
Does tourism, the tourism industry there, does it kind of happen all year round, or only mainly during the winter months when it's snowing?
yeah, great question. Winter and summer. So
Some,
we
okay.
call, like, spring is when all the snow is melting.
Yeah, yeah.
They call it mud season. And
Okay.
then fall is, people come out because the leaves are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
All the aspens are quaking, turning different colors. So some people come out in the fall, but summertime is like time to be here. People are out rafting,
Okay.
fishing, kayaking, like it's,
Doing all the other activities. Yeah.
yeah. And that's, summertime is when, we've got some good size music events and festivals that come up through here in the summertime that bring a lot of people, and all the locals out too.
Yeah. Um. So let's talk about this record. The record is called "This Road." It comes out February 10th. Is that
Yeah,
just a digital release, or you gonna have hard copies for sale also?
totally. Yeah. Digital everywhere. We have vinyl, cassette, and CDs.
Cassettes are coming back.
That's right. Our
I
our
love it.
keyboardist he just like collects cassettes, and
Really?
one day he showed up to band practice and he's like, "Oh, check out these cassettes. I got cassettes
Yeah.
of the album." They're like, "All right, cool." We actually
That's
just
hilarious.
did a sweet little listening party in our community on Monday, where
Okay.
people could get the record before it's out in all those
Sure.
formats, the hard copies and whatnot. But yeah, the vinyl, cassette, and CDs, you can get them at any of our live shows that are coming up. We're about to announce a whole slew of tour dates.
Mm-hmm.
And then also physical copies could be ordered on our Bandcamp, which is just
Okay.
runawaygrooms.bandcamp.com. So yeah, we've got those out there.
I love that you're doing cassettes. So this is the second album. It's called This Road. How many tunes are on the album?
This is 5 songs.
Okay.
5 songs on this. We're like, is this an EP or an album, or actually who really cares?
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares.
Type thing. It's like song wise, it's like falls under an EP, but length wise falls under an album. We're just,
Yeah.
what it is, what it is. Call it whatever you want to call it.
Right. I like that approach.
Yeah.
Cool. So 5 tunes, and how do you guys write as a band, or is there like kind of someone who spearheads the songwriting within the group a little bit more than the others?
Totally. It's a mixture.
Okay.
We do most of our writing together as a band, bouncing ideas off one another. Oh, what if
Sure.
what if we staccatos here, blah, blah, whatever it might be. The majority of our songwriting comes from that. The stem of the ideas for the songs typically come from individuals. Most frequently, Adam, our guitar player and singer, and then Cody, our keyboardist. And I've been jumping on the contributions by introducing the songs via acoustic to these guys.
Okay.
Take over on those, and then I'd swing over on the bass to kind of like convey what I'm trying to put out there, you know.
Right.
Um,
Where'd the band name come from?
oh man.
Hold on. Has anybody in the group been engaged and then not gone through with the wedding?
Wow.
Like, does
Yes,
this come from like a real? Okay.
that is true. And honestly, that is true from like 2 weeks ago. As of now.
Damn.
So it's pretty gnarly and
Okay.
messed up.
Was it you or someone else in the group?
No.
Okay.
No, it's our drummer in the band. And that's real tough for him, but he actually is now a Runaway Groom.
Okay. So he's the one that backed out?
Yeah, no.
She
No, it's complicated, but
yeah.
I mean, he had to break that off,
Oof.
which was tough. But
yeah,
the band name, Adam came up with. Well, I first like to preface it with, typically when people ask us where the band name came from, which happens all the time. Sure. We like to play a little game of how outrageous of a story can we make up. Yeah. And so that's taken us down some really fun and interesting paths, because it's basically like a live skit between all members.
Sure, just some improv skit.
Some improv, yeah. And but in all reality, Adam, when he created the band, he thought of it as like, it would be really cool to have this band that is basically like a backup band for a lead female singer. So
okay,
I see. Mariah Carey and the Runaway Grooms, kind of
right.
this vibe, and they would go play like events or weddings or whatever, and that never came into fruition. But the name definitely caught fire locally, which we've expanded regionally and nationally now, and it definitely stuck with them. What actually the story behind it is he was thinking of that, and the original 3 members got a gig at the local brewery, and they said, okay, well, what's the name of the band? And he's like,
gotta have something. Yeah.
We don't have a band name, but I have always thought this would be cool. So he threw that name out, and it just stuck. So
okay. So have you guys ever, has the band ever worked with a female front singer to kind of put this into? Was there ever been a collaboration?
Yeah,
with a female front singer to make that dream happen?
Partially. Adam, he's our lead guitar player. He was in a relationship with a chick named Jessica Schaefer, who's an amazing artist and vocalist. And she came out she never hit the road with us, but she did a couple gigs with us kind of on the road. And, primarily more like of a harmony role, never really like a lead role.
Okay, so it wasn't necessarily her and the Runaway Grooms. No. It was just like she was just kind of adding to what you guys were already doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Right.
So
it's never really happened where you guys have joined someone else's project.
Not yet. Nope.
Okay, is that still something you guys are interested in pursuing? Or are you guys locked in your identity as your own outfit?
It wouldn't transition. The band is the band now. We're our own entity, and will be. But I mean, we're very open to exploring and ideas and whatnot, and evolution, man. So I wouldn't say that that's like impossible to see for the future, but it's definitely not something we're focused on or have like intentions towards like making that become a reality.
Right.
Yeah.
How does this new album, how is it different from the one before it?
Yeah, man. This album kind of touches on a bit more roots rock. Okay. Like some more southern rock with some of the tunes.
Are the other guys in the band from Colorado originally?
No, everyone's implant. Everybody moved here. We've got
transplant.
Yeah, transplants. We got guys from Massachusetts, and Cody's from Florida.
Okay.
So
The only reason I bring that up is because I think that stuff always does impact sonically what you bring to the table as far as, how that's going to influence a band sound.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so it's kind of coming from a
yeah.
southern roots rock kind of
Yeah, more of
thing.
a roots rock vibe. We there's a tune on the record. I mean, the tune "This Road" is a blues tune. It's
Okay.
straight up a blues tune. And then Mr. Ford dives into like kind of like some psychedelic jazz funk fusion
Okay.
ordeal. So with that, yeah, I mean, different from the last album. The last it's similar in many ways. The last album we had one instrumental on as well, and this one we had one instrumental on.
Okay.
There's definitely an evolution. We've gotten tighter, and I think the production and the songwriting is better on this album than anything we've done previously. And it also helped with the studio and the engineer and producer we worked with on this record, which is Jeremy Horn out of Paloma Studios in Memphis, Tennessee.
Mhm.
The whole vibe, we stayed there for the record, and the vibe of the studio is comfortable. It's welcoming, supportive.
Sure.
It's got this vintage vibe going on in there, man, and just really a homey vibe. We cut the songs live.
Okay.
And so, we were really able to get in there and kind of settle down. Whereas, like, the last album was like we'd record a little bit and then come back and record a little bit, ease
Right,
things
right, right.
in. So this one's more organic and flowy for us.
Okay. The first album, did you guys self-produce that one?
Yeah, the very first album, which came out right after I joined, is called "Tied to the Sun."
Okay.
Yeah, they did that. They recorded it here in I can't remember the name of the studio. It was pre my time with the band, uh,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first one. But I think the guy who did the engineering kind of stepped in and did a little bit of producing on it as well, and
yeah. Okay.
in some suggestive type stuff. But
Was this studio in Memphis a place you had known of, or like one of your old homies from Memphis, or did it? How did that get on the
yeah,
scene?
man,
That specific
yeah.
studio.
So Jeremy Horn, I grew up. My parents' church that I grew up in, he was the worship leader. It's like a mega church, huge church.
Okay.
And so like I started going to church super young, and I found um, you know, the Sunday service was like a concert for me.
Right, right.
And a whole production and organ and keys and sometimes they
Yeah.
have a slide player and just like they were filthy.
Was it a whole situation with the
Oh yeah,
lights and like a smoke
no,
machine and like the
no,
whole
they didn't have the
the
lights and
whole
smoke
experience?
machine, but they were filthy. And I was like
Yeah.
really kind of less concerned with the worship aspect and more like focused in like what are they doing and like that's cool
Right.
type stuff. And so I knew him through the church, and kind of growing up he was always like real encouraging. I was just starting guitar when we met each other, and he was making records. Is at the time also in a band called 11th Hour. Bless you.
Okay. Excuse me. Thank you.
Anyways, so I've known Jeremy for a long time. He came out to one of our shows in Memphis while we were on tour one time, and he's like, "Dude, we got to get you guys down here and make a record. I got this new studio, and you're gonna freaking love it." So we went over
Okay.
and toured the studio, and just the whole vibe of Jeremy. He has worked with Ardent Studios out of Memphis forever.
Mhm.
And so he's engineered and produced stuff over there. And then he finally got to build his dream studio at his house.
Oh wow.
And so
Nice. Nice.
it's the vibe, man. There's you can do all your stuff and then go jump in the swimming pool or cook out on the grill. It's just the
Right, right, right.
vibe. And
Sure.
so, yeah, I've known Jeremy for a long time. So we already have a strong relationship. And so the trust is there between me and him. And then, in the
Yeah.
last couple years, he's been able to form that with the other guys in the band too. And right now, it's hard to see, making a record without him. Like
Yeah.
we just vibe that good.
Yeah. So I mean, there would be, when it comes around time to do a third, you guys going thinking about, you probably go back.
Yeah, so we're set to go back in April. We're sitting,
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's soon.
yeah, we're sitting on a whole new album right now, just like in terms of what we've written. And
Yeah.
so we're gonna be back touring the Southeast in that time, and we've got
Okay.
I think 3 days off, and we're gonna see what all we can lay down.
So is that the tour that's happening for this record right
Yeah,
now? The second record, This Road.
yeah. So this is actually the third record.
Second
Yeah,
with
second with
you.
me. Yeah, you're right.
Second
Yep,
with
yep.
you, yeah.
So yeah, this tour right now is Colorado. We're about to announce several other legs of the tour, including a West Coast and a Southeast
Oh,
run
cool.
as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Um, that's nice. Have you guys done West Coast and
Oh yeah,
Southeast
yeah.
before?
I think
Okay.
we've probably done Southeast the most. I would say like maybe 4 or 5 different times, and then West
Mm-hmm.
Coast. This is our third West Coast run as a band.
Do you guys go all the way up the coast, like San Diego to Seattle?
No, this is actually just top of California, bottom to top in Cali for this
Okay.
run. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's good. It's good.
It seems like that music would go over really well in the Bay
Yeah,
Area.
man. Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, California, it's really cool touring, man, because, you know, in Colorado, specifically up in the mountains, the band, since its creation has created like a great fan base it's more like friends and family, man. They're very
Mm-hmm.
personable, and people are extremely supportive and stoked on everything that we're doing out here. And then we're just like we've been taking that kind of like formula in community and whatnot, and we're just like making pockets of it all across the country,
That's
which is,
killing.
which is so
Yeah.
cool. We go to California, and it's great to have homies, all our homies like in SoCal and working up the coast, and you know groups of friends, and those friend bases just expand every time we visit.
Oh, that's
It's
cool.
cool.
That's cool. What spots do you play in Southern California?
SoCal, San Diego, we've been doing
Okay, I know
Winston's
that
down
place.
there, like we've some Costa Mesa, like Wayfair, um
Mm-hmm.
Soho up in Santa Barbara. um,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, just around. Trying to think of the other venues. They all kind of sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, no, I feel it. I mean, coming like when you go out on the road, because I mean I live in Los Angeles, right? So the small mountain town thing, that's where I go to get away.
Right.
Is where you
Yeah.
live, Um, I'm in Venice Beach, so I know that it's kind of the opposite. Where I live is where a lot of people go to vacation and
Yeah.
get away. So it's interesting. Coming from the mountain towns, what's it like to be back in these bigger cities? Like, is it a culture shock initially? Because every time I go to the mountains, it's a culture shock
Right.
for me. When it's
Totally.
reversed. I love it, but then after like 2-3 days, I'm like, all right, I need to go back
I
to where I
feel that.
live, and I'm kind of burnt on this. But I love it for like the first
Right,
couple days.
man. It honestly, the craziest thing was after COVID.
Yeah.
When we started like touring out again, even just going down to Denver, man, which is a 2-hour trek from us. It was like, all right, trash, traffic, crime, it was just like so much anxiety. And I was just
Yeah.
like, whoa, it's way too much for me. just like, let's play this show and get the hell out, let's go back up to the mountains. And that's gotten a little bit better. You know, it's I've just evolved, I think, over this time that I ended up in Colorado, because Nashville's no little city in it, at all.
Sure.
Little compared to others, but it's still a thriving metro area. But yeah, I think I still it's like both, man. It's like really cool because now you can go check out these fucking sick guitar shops and music shops, and there's like so much diversity in food and people, and we don't get that all the time. So we love that aspect in all the cultures that exist. Up here there's the mountain culture, which can be tied in with like this, there's like two aspects of it. You have like ultra wealthy mountain culture, and then not like ski bum mountain culture.
Right. The luxury and then the blue collar version.
And they coexist, but it's not like, it's not thriving in terms of diversity at all. So, we really enjoy that, going to the big cities, and also just traveling around the country, catching, in Cali, you get all the Cali vibes, especially going up the coast, surf and chill and, just skating and all that whole vibe. And also in LA, we got some friends like in the art scene and acting and all that stuff. And that's cool. And we go to the South, and we've got like some redneck friends. It's like a whole different group of people with a whole different style of life, which is cool. So yeah, I mean, sometimes the big cities can be a lot, man. I get real scared about our gear. There's so many stories out there, people we know personally, and you see it all the time. Trailers getting jacked, shit getting broken into. In fact, we had our van broken into in Tucson when we were asleep in it, and they broke in and stole my MacBook that I'm talking to you on right now.
Okay. So hold on, where was the gear?
The gear's in the trailer.
Yeah, so that didn't get touched. They went into the van, like where the cabin of the van, actual.
Yeah, and my laptop was sitting like on the floorboard, and we just thought, we had a late night, people went out and party, just kind of like, I don't even know if everybody was at the van, but I was in the van. I just thought it was someone else opening the door, and I get up, we go to a coffee shop to do a little computer work to start the morning. And I'm like, dude, where's my fucking computer? I'm looking everywhere. And pull up the Find My iPhone app or whatever. And some people from a homeless camp out there just like jumped in the van, grabbed a whole bunch of shit and like took it. And I had to like go into the forest, like in the middle of Tucson, like these ditches with trees. There's just like homeless camps in there, and
that sounds awesome. Crazy, like I haven't been to Tucson in years, and I have some friends that live down there. I'm from Phoenix originally, so I haven't been down there in years. Last time I was there, it's got a lot more gentrified, and there's a lot of buildings and stuff. But there's still just like an aspect of Tucson that's just like, I'm not into it, but I haven't been there in like at least 10 years too.
Well,
but
I mean,
just like having a homeless person steal your stuff and having to go hunt it down in Tucson just sounds like the worst experience that it could be.
It wasn't fun. And I gotta say, we haven't been back to Tucson, so
yeah. that's
no one in the band is too fond of going back. However, we do frequent Phoenix, and we love Phoenix.
Okay.
And the fans there are awesome.
Cool.
But I would say, sometimes I get that gear, like, fuck, is our gear cool? Like, back that trailer up against the wall where nobody can get in it, or
sure, do all the little tricks. I mean, you guys have an insurance?
We have insurance, but I mean,
I mean, it's not like you're gonna if they jack it the day of a gig. It's not like you
Right.
can. You'd have to go rent gear for the gig, which is a whole just
It's a whole
pain.
thing, and I'm going through this dilemma of like, I'm starting to get a couple of the instruments maybe I've kind of dreamed of, or like,
Okay.
and I've done a couple tours with them,
Yeah, yeah.
and I bring them along, so it's like, oh, I really you don't want that one to get stolen,
Right,
you
right,
don't want
right,
that one to get stolen.
right. Yeah. What are the instruments? What are
I was
those
actually
instruments
just playing
specifically?
this guy right here. That's a
Okay.
75 jazz bass.
Sick.
I got some flats on there right now, but I found this one probably like 3 tours ago in Cincinnati. It just kind of made its way to me. So um, a Gibson J50 is probably like my cream that I'd like to play the most, and just kind of stack them up. I mean, right now I'm playing mostly. I'm leaning a lot. I have a P bass special, 98 P bass special with
Hmm.
Bartolini's in it, and it's got a fat tone and just
Okay. Yeah, I mean Bartolini's are
yeah,
that was definitely the sound for that kind of I don't know exactly when Bartolini thing started. I'd say like mid '90s into early
sure,
2000s. Like they're in all the boutique bases. Everybody was copying the Bartolini thing when they started building their
yeah,
own.
yeah. And
Yeah,
that one I
great.
picked up. I was actually in a vintage shop in Nashville our last round in October, and sit next to a wide variety of beautiful, sick basses, and this bass popped out, and you, much newer than the others sitting around, and substantially cheaper. But you picked it up, and it was like, oh, I don't want to put it down.
Yeah, yeah.
This guy's got to come with me.
Right, right,
So
right. Right, man. I was talking about. I was hanging with a guy that works for Ampeg last
right,
night, and we were talking about amps and things, but we were also talking about just manufacturers and production. Um, and we were specifically talking about companies making products that where all of them are the same kind of sucks. Like you want to be able to like play through an instrument and like no, I don't like that one, but then like this one, same year, same model, same everything, that's a good
right.
one. I think that there's something to that, and like
Agreed.
I think that that's part of the whole process is like just playing through different stuff. Who cares
Right.
what it is? If it inspires you to play,
That's
killing,
it.
then that's a good
Yeah.
one for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that too, man. That's really what it comes down for me is when you pick up an instrument or play through an amp. If I judge it kind of how it's like, if I'm having a hard time stopping, that's a good
Yeah,
sign.
yeah.
If it's like I just
Right.
don't want to put it down, okay, you don't have to wait on me, girlfriend, you don't have to wait on me. Keep going. Like I'm gonna be here for a bit. Like that's when
Right.
I feel a connection to it, right? And that you get that through the sound, the touch, and the feel of the instrument of whatever you're doing. There's certainly no right or wrong, or
I think it's completely
right.
individual. Like
Yeah.
whatever,
And price tag too, man. I picked up I picked up some bases that are whatever vintage, or you have a hefty price tag on them. You just can't connect with them, and it's just
Right.
like, oh yeah, this is really sweet. This is cool, but it's not really. I don't feel it. It's not what I'm looking for. Um,
Sure.
and yeah, I agree with you on that.
So is this 75 your main bass, or is that
Yeah,
that P special your main one?
yeah, it was until I got the P bass special. Like I'm
Uh huh.
playing that P bass a lot more recently, and I'm
Okay.
trying to alternate them. Um, I'm like finding that there's a couple songs in particularly that like the tone um of the flats in the J bass like serves
Oh, that's forget about it. Yeah.
it serves the song
Flats on a P.
right.
Yeah.
It serves the song so much better than than that full fat P bass, and so it's not like
Oh, you mean the flats on your J bass? The flats on your 75 work better?
well, yeah, I'm saying
Okay.
there's some songs that are where this guitar might be more complementary to the
Sure.
foundation of what I tone wise what I'm looking at with that
Right.
bass. So
Okay.
but I have been since I've gotten that P bass special. It's it's hard to put down, man. I'm connected to it,
Yeah.
and it sounds fat. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Nice. Nice. Where did you go? I mean, you just started kind of playing bass with this group. Where'd you go to get informed as a bass player so
Oh,
quick?
Scott Devine. Scott Devine.
Okay.
I started playing with these guys, um, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, if you're at a brewery, dicking around on the bass, or just playing around, it's not a very serious vibe, like we were talking about before. You're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
trying to be the tightest band in the world. You're just going to have some fun. It's one thing to be playing bass like that. But now we've moved into touring and ticket sales and performances and records. Now it's now that transferred into an obligation to better understand the instrument and understand how to use it in my
Mm-hmm.
arsenal. And I started getting hit with those scottsbasslessons.com ads on
Yeah.
YouTube. I'm sitting here like studying all these things.
His marketing team is
Oh yeah,
crushing it.
oh yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like studying all, watching all these bass players and like picking up on, foundations and tricks of the trade. And what going into these bands, the Allman Brothers, who is into, and like going into Barry Oakley, like uh, finding out these bass players, what kind of rigs were they using in gear, and like what are some of their things, and like trying to draw influence from those as well, like
Mm-hmm.
transferring instruments from guitar to bass. But anyways, through YouTube University, I ended up finding Scott, and I just kind of
Okay.
like got hooked on the stuff. He's got he's such a wide variety of stuff on that platform, and he's constantly putting out
Sure.
the great content of like, you know, introducing me to bass players you don't know about, songs you don't know about, techniques you don't know about, etc. Especially me coming into the bass world.
Right, right, right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't really use it that often these days. I'm still a member, and there's so much valuable content on there. I'll pick it up every once in a while. Lately, kind of my university is just like I go down. I got a home studio downstairs. I just put on
Mm-hmm.
a record that inspires me, and
That's the best, man.
yeah, just sit down with it and listen.
Yes.
And
That's my
you know,
thing. Yeah. What are some of those records that like you go to for that have been either educational or inspirational as a songwriter or bass player, or because each record at different times has a different
oh, yes,
impact.
totally. And I jumped on like some of that Mac Miller stuff, like especially after like
Okay.
Thundercat and the Tiny Desk. Uh, I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw that one.
I don't remember. I don't know if I saw that. Mac was the one that passed away a few years ago, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. My good friend Dennis is Thundercat's piano player, so I remember hearing about it from
yeah.
Dennis, but I don't. I'm not on
Sure,
YouTube that
sure.
often for anything.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's fire. Also, like we go back to sometimes the band will generate like uh, it all depends. Like so, we've done like some late night Grateful Grooms, like where we'll do a rendition or a show of our take on the Grateful Dead and like some stuff like this.
Okay.
And those albums would come through mostly recommended from the other guys in the band. Not the biggest Deadhead. I appreciate what everything that they've done in the music they put out.
Sure.
Krungbin, I'm sitting on some Krungbin stuff.
Who's that?
Krungbin,
Crumbin?
yeah.
Hold on. Spell that for me. I'm gonna
It's
look
like
this up right now. I've
K
never heard of this.
K. I want to say, probably got it right here. KHRUANGBIN.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a trio, and you know, I mean, what's beautiful about that trio, man, is it's just, I mean, the kid is just, he's basically a bass drum, hi hat, and a snare essentially, and
Right.
he's very minimal. And in the chick, they're just locked in bass and drums, and the guitar ends up basically singing all the melodies. Is It's tight. They're great little band. I say little band, they're crushing it.
Where I've never even heard of. Where are they
They're
from
out of
originally?
Houston, Texas, I believe. Yeah,
Really? Their whole website kind of feels like it would be English or
yeah.
something.
They got a vibe going on, man. But they kind of got like almost like mm, almost like lo-fi beats going on with the guitar singing melodies. Um, it's really
Okay.
cool. I'm into all kind of stuff, man. I get into that Allman Brothers aspect. I get into like there's a new Tyler Childers record, and I just kind of move all around. So um, sometimes the albums I end up getting into is because we're exploring, maybe introducing a new cover or a tease of a cover. So I'm like, all right, let's go and explore a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more of what this artist does or whatnot.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do a little research on
those sort
the
of vibes.
topic. What was I mean coming from Nashville? When I think of Nashville, I think of like it's definitely just country music. Gonna have some bluegrass,
Yeah.
obviously Americana. Um, was there a lot of diversity when you were there in what you were playing in? Because I mean, you
Sure.
can choose what you listen to, but when you're in different projects playing, was that
Um,
pretty diverse?
I would say that n- not really. Really not
Okay.
into terms of like what I was playing. I was primarily, I was very far away from the country scene or any of
Hmm.
that music. The people I was rolling with is very much like more rock, indie and rock.
Okay.
Also like, straight
Okay.
up rock and roll, that vibe.
Yeah.
But, in terms of listening and going out and seeing concerts, I'm seeing everything from reggae to country, what you name it, like going
Yeah.
out as an audience member and listening. But in terms of the creation of music, I was primarily locked in Nashville. I was like in this very much like in the indie scene,
Yeah. Who are some bands that influenced you that way?
from indie, dude, I really
Yeah.
like Vampire Weekend, or like a
Okay.
Phoenix. I was really hard into Phoenix for a
Hmm.
hot little bit, and I mean into like K.
Are they still
They are.
around? I
I think
remembered
they're.
them, but they seemed like they got a little press, like what, 10 years ago, maybe a little
Yeah, I
further
think they
back.
had a album. I want to say that album was called Bankrupt or something. I saw them in Chicago, and
Okay.
yeah,
Phoenix
they
in
threw
Chicago.
out like they had cannons of like this fake money with like their names or whatever,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it was a badass production. But anyways, yeah, I mean, into like Liz Cooper in the Stampede. You know those guys? They're
Okay.
great Nashville artists.
No.
Into like Cage the Elephant, that sort of vibe. You know, when I was in
Okay.
Nashville, I'd say that's very much changed. I haven't. It's evolved. I still appreciate those things. I don't find myself listening to them very often, much less like playing them. Um, joining this band has really opened me up to quite a few other things. Really, like in the jam side of things. If you're familiar with like Goose,
No,
Goose
I'm
is
not.
like
Is that Is that a new
Well,
group?
new to like masses, but they've been around. They've been
Okay.
around.
Okay.
They're probably in their 30s, early 30s, mid 30s, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goose.
Just been
Oh,
grinding it out for a while.
they're
Like they've been out there. They're just
they're
finally
on
starting to come
fire.
up.
Like, anything they're touching is just turning to gold right now. Kind of like Billy Strings right now. He's just
Okay.
there. All the Red Rocks, whatever it might be, is just selling out as soon as it hits the floor. So
Yeah. Yeah.
started diving into some of that more like bluegrass or jam grass. You know, the door was unlocked when I started hanging out with people in Colorado. I never listened to Fish
Right.
before
Of
or
course.
Great. That's never been in my
Right.
realm. I've never even, I didn't
Yeah.
even know about the Grateful Dead before, which is crazy. And there's so much you can go in from that. The Dead, for example, they've been a bluegrass band, yeah, a folk band, and evolved into psychedelics and rock and roll. And then you get to the
Sure.
80s era, and they've even evolved even more. So it's like, and the other guys in the band kind of introduced me to that sort of realm of stuff. So
Do you think that living in the mountain towns, that music makes more sense to you now?
yeah, living in the mountain towns, yeah, for sure. I would say like that's just like part of the recipe for why it makes more sense.
Right.
Music makes more sense now because I've spent more time learning theory. Music makes more sense now because I've spent more intentional time with my instrument, because we have,
Sure.
rehearsals 5 days a week on a consistent basis. It's my understanding is continually evolving and depthening, like, and so hopefully that's a thing that always remains, so.
For sure. Zach, this has been a pleasure, man. Let me know when some more tour dates
Yeah,
get added. Come back on. Let's talk about them.
totally, man.
All right. That was my talk with Zach Gilliam from the band The Runaway Grooms. The Runaway Grooms. New album, This Road. It came out February 10th. Check that out wherever you are checking out music. I'm sure it's all the places. And again, thank you to my friends at IVPR. If you are enjoying the Bass Shed podcast, please hit subscribe wherever you are listening to it and leave a rating. And if you make it to this far in the episode and don't turn it off, that's probably a thing. I'm always an advocate for the 5-star rating. So stop by, hit subscribe, and leave a rating, preferably 5 stars. That's all I got for this one, folks. That's all I got. I will catch you on the next one in a minute.